3 wins in a row. Didn't think we'd be seeing that this early after the way this season started. And then they have the Spurs coming up on Friday, who have lost 15 straight, and man, I don't want to be the team that they break that losing streak against. And if they can win that game, then the Bulls would have their first 4-game winning streak since the 21-22 season. The Bulls did not have a single 4-game winning streak at all last year. And look, I know for a lot of you, you're probably saying, why are we getting excited about this? This is already a lost season. We should be tanking and losing as many games as possible. Well, you guys know me by now. As much as I can accept that this season is, for all intents and purposes, done, at the same time, I'll truly never give up in thinking they can somehow salvage this season, especially when we're still this early in the year. And at the end of the day, I'm never going to root for my team to lose. Even in those rebuilding years when the Bulls were trying to lose and get a high draft pick, I still wanted to see them win. It made losing a little more palatable because there was the hope that they were going to be getting a guy like Zion or Luka in the draft, but as a fan, it's really hard to effectively root against your team. But anyway, that aside, whether you're on the tank or no tank, Bulls get the win. They're now 8-14, so still a big uphill climb ahead of them, and they're still sitting 12th in the Eastern Conference. And look, this game wasn't pretty. The first half was especially bad when the Bulls quickly blew a 16-point lead by not scoring in the final 6 minutes of the second quarter. I shouldn't say not scoring, they didn't have a single field goal in the final 6 minutes of the second quarter, and were only able to get up 48 points on poor shooting against one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, and a team that was without their best player, and a team that was shooting terribly from 3 in that first half. They were 2 for 20 from behind the arc at halftime, which was the only reason the Bulls were able to have a small lead at halftime. And throughout that time, the Bulls kind of lost their way and went back to their old habits, pounding the ball, slowing down the offense, not making the extra pass. Coby started doing some isolation step back threes while it was contested, and I got a little PTSD of what drives me crazy, what we've been seeing from Lavine over the last 6 or so years. But the Bulls corrected their mistakes, came out of the locker room, responded well, playing fast, moving the ball around, taking better shots, and also shooting the ball better. They quickly got the lead back up to 20 by the end of the third quarter, and while the Hornets kind of hung around here and there and went on some runs, the Bulls never let them back within 3 possessions. The Hornets finally started hitting their threes, which helped them, but the Bulls also did as well, which helped close out the game. But the reason why I say this win wasn't that impressive compared to the last 2 games is because this is a really bad Charlotte Hornets team. Yeah, they got some young athletic guys and they've got some good shooters, but they turn the ball over a lot. Poor shot selection, bad passes, and with the team being without LaMelo Ball, the Bulls should have handled these guys a little more easily. A lot of sloppy possessions on the Bulls' part, a lot of turnovers, miscues on defense where you have guys cut backdoor and no one was coming over for the help defense, or just getting straight up beat off the dribble like it was nothing, and a low post man not even paying attention to come over and trying to protect the rim. And on offense, like I said before, just seeming a little lost out there at times. Confused as to where they should be, when they should be cutting. I'm not saying it's bad necessarily because they're still keeping up the pace. They're trying to play faster because they saw how well it worked in the last 2 games. And naturally, when you're trying to adapt to a new play style and you're playing more up-tempo, there is going to be a learning curve. You're going to make mistakes, so I can live with it and I guess make those mistakes when you're playing against a bad team. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is this team, despite it being their 3rd straight win, they still have a long ways to go to figure things out, and most certainly still need to make changes to the overall roster, which we already knew, but I think some of us might have gotten a little blinded by that with the way the team showed up against the Bucks and Pelicans, and they were flying all over the place, racking up 32 assists in each game. Like, that was fun, but this team still has work to do. Also, I should add the downside of the Bulls continuing to win, aside from it being the opposite of tanking, is it's not really helping Zach LaVine's trade value when you see this team playing better and winning without him. But anyway, things I like seeing from this game. How about Patrick Williams being active on the floor yet again? We're seeing this consistently now with Pat and showing more confidence. You feel his presence when he's out there, whereas before you often forgot that he was on the court because he wasn't doing much outside of just standing around in the corner. But yet again, we see Pat cutting, running around, and fighting for rebounds, grabbing offensive boards, and getting second chance opportunities. Pat didn't put up a ton of shots tonight, which I feel like most people are going to call out more than anything and not realize he was actually doing a little bit of everything. Deflecting passes, slapping the ball away on drives, blocking shots. Yeah, only 8 points, but 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. I really like his effort out there, much more than anything we have seen from Pat to start the season, and really that includes most of last season as well. And maybe there is this newfound confidence within him knowing that his role has increased and more is expected of him with Zach Lavine being out. But I like this progress that I've seen from Pat compared to what we saw at the start of the season, where he was putting up goose eggs and getting like 2 or 3 rebounds per game. And then of course, Coby White, we're still seeing it. We're still seeing it consistently. We're always talking about whether Coby can play like this consistently. This is the most consistent his shooting has been throughout his career. Now granted, his finishing at the rim wasn't the best tonight. He did go 6 for 16 overall, but he stays hot, shooting from 3 for 7. He now sets a franchise record for a player to have 3 or more threes in 9 consecutive games. And the scoring aside, what was more impressive to me, how about 0 turnovers in 38 minutes as the main ball handler? How about 9 rebounds as a starting point guard, 5 assists, all around great game for Coby, even though he wasn't the most efficient on the scoring front, but still managed to get 19 points and keeps upping that average as the season goes on. Vucevic, good bounce back game for him after having a pretty poor showing against the Pelicans, although anything less than a good game for Vuce tonight would have been bad when you consider the fact that Mark Williams was out of the lineup and the Hornets' best rim protector and starting center. But Vucevic, 20 points, hit a couple threes, 12 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, crashing the offensive glass, getting those second chance opportunities, second chance points, so that was great to see, and then 3 assists for Vuce as well. And then DeMar DeRozan, I was getting a little frustrated with DeMar in the first half because I felt like he was going back to his old ways, was slowing down the offense, wasn't getting guys involved, was more focused on his scoring, but then coming out in the second half, he was being much more deferential, was taking better shots, was getting to the foul line. He finished the game with 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then Alex Caruso just doing AC things, fighting on every possession, still keeping up his game on offense. Another double-digit scoring night for him. For the bench, I have to say, the more I see Julian Phillips out there, even in those short spurts, limited minutes, I'm encouraged by what I see from him and his potential. That up and under reverse lane in transition was a heads-up play and a great finish. Kid is only 19, and this might very well be a piece the Bulls can work with for the future. Oh, it's also been nice to see Torrey Craig seemingly get his shot back, knocking it down from deep again. And then same with Iowa, he continues to shoot efficiently from behind the arc as well. The shot might not look great, the release is still slow, but he's hitting them, something he struggled with all of last year, so I'll take it. Anyway, I'm just happy to see the guys stringing together some wins. They're looking much happier out there, and someone who creates content talking about this team, as long as I don't have to deal with what we were seeing on a nightly basis before, I will take it. Anyway, Bulls are off tomorrow, right back at it on Friday against the Spurs, who've only won 3 games all season. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.